Welcome to Postcards to the Universe with Melisa Caprio. Do you believe in magic? What if you were told that all you had to do was get a little creative and work a magic spell to bring anything you can imagine into your life? Here on Postcards to the Universe, we will share manifesting, tips, postcards, creativity, abundance, and prosperity. Here is your host, Melisa Caprio.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Postcards to the Universe with Melisa, creating the life you crave. It's Wednesday. How are you guys doing today? I love Wednesdays. I love talking to my guests. So thank you for joining me. I have a really cool show today. I have author Victoria Rader on, and she's going to join me in just a few moments. And today's show, we're going to be focusing on abundance, which we love, right? Especially prosperity. So stay tuned for Victoria to join me. For those of you who are new tuning into my show for the first time, I want to give you a warm welcome. Thank you for being here with me today. And I hope that you keep returning. And if you're listening for the first time and for future shows, if you can't join live, we do always have a replay that's put up here at OMTimes that you can find anytime you want and listen, anytime, day or night. And I also take the show and make it a podcast, and I put it up on my website, postcardstotheuniverse.com, as podcast, so you can hear it there too. A little bit about me. I am an author and I have a book, and it's titled Postcards to the Universe, Harness the Universe's Power and Manifest Your Dreams. And it's so cool because we're going to be talking a lot about manifesting today. And in my book, there are 30 manifesting stories along with the photographs that I took of the contributors manifesting postcards. And manifesting postcards are sort of like a little mini vision board. And I explain it all in my book, how to make one. In my book, I have tons of writing exercises, which helps us get real clear on what it is that we want to manifest. And there's a lot of fun exercises at the end of each section of the book that tells us how to manifest in certain areas that we always want more abundance, which is love and money, health, our career, and so much more. So if that sounds interesting to you, I would love it if you would purchase my book, which you can find on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, online, or at your favorite bookstore. If they don't have it, they will get it for you. And to my regulars who listen to me every week, I so appreciate and love you guys. I'm so grateful for you being here with me. It means the world, and I hope you stay and keep coming back. If you are on Facebook, I would love it if you join my Postcards of Love group. And it's just a small group, and we share like uplifting stuff, nothing too serious, all stuff that makes us feel good. And guys, I ask every week, and I will keep asking, to send me a manifesting postcard. Today's a great show to listen to about that because we're going to be talking about prosperity. So if you want to bring more prosperity into your life, create a postcard around it and send it to me. You can find the address on my website, postcardstotheuniverse.com, and also how to create one. And please drop me an email and let me know that you're sending one. I would love it. Each week I share a little message, and I call it my magical message, and I post it on all my social medias. And it's an image of a manifesting postcard that I photograph with an affirmation, because I love affirmations. I use them daily. I think they're super powerful to become a new belief in our lives. And we're going to be talking about shifting our beliefs so that we can start to manifest prosperity. And this week's is surround yourself with money magic. Now, I usually give my thoughts on the postcard each week, but since my guest, Victoria, and I are going to be talking about prosperity, it's going to be all covered in the whole show today. So next week, if you join me next week, I have Tracy Lee Wittet on, and she is a spiritual energy healer, sacred conduit, and an intuitive guide. And she does this transmosis healing, which is a unique integrated blend of energy modalities, and it offers people multi-dimensional body balancing. So join me next week for that. Okay, now to get to my guest today, Victoria S. Rader, Ph.D. and possibility coach. She's a transformational speaker and founder of You Too Shine. It's why you, the number two, shine. And she empowers coaches, entrepreneurs, and spiritual seekers to manifest miracles by uncovering and solving underlying hidden problems and patterns with innovative possibilities, reigniting passion, and expanding peace, purpose, and prosperity. She is an 8 times internationally best-selling author, including her book, Prosper Me, the 35 Universal Laws to Make Money Work for You. She is globally recognized along with Brene Brown, Richard Branson, and others for creative and innovative ideas, adaptability in business, and contribution to sustainability and mental health projects with her CREA Global Award by Brainz Magazine. And to find out more about her, you can go to her website, which I'm going to say it out for you. So it's you2shine.com. So it's YU, the number two, shine.com. Welcome, Victoria. Thanks for being here with me today.
Thank you so much, Melissa. It's really wonderful to be here.
I'm excited to talk to you. So I just finished her book, Prosper Me, small M, big E, 35 Universal Laws to Make Money Work for You. I finished it actually this afternoon before the show. I love when I get an author on because I try to schedule to read it right before, because I interview new people each week. So I try to schedule to read it right before you come on. So it's fresh in my brain, and it's really informative, super easy to follow. And you have tips and tools for everybody to do at the end of your book, too, and some affirmations to focus on and a place for us to take notes. And so I thought it was really, really great the way you did the book. So thanks so much for doing that. So why don't you share a little bit about yourself, who you are, and how you got into your manifesting and your life full of prosperity and abundance.
Absolutely. I was born in the former Soviet Union in Ukraine. Today Ukraine is kind of a big word, trigger word, as we're watching the news, but that's where I was born. And I was born on the decaying part of the Soviet Union, so things were falling apart. And the beauty of that experience was, while you still couldn't really control the exterior, while you still did not have really too much freedom of choice, you no longer were repressed for practicing it either. So I was born in a twilight of transition. And I think it's wonderful for all of us to look at whatever we're going through right now, because I believe the earth, this gorgeous globe we're walking on, is going through a very similar twilight of transition. And in a twilight, things are not what they seem to be. Concepts are being morphed, and the freedom is being redefined, the manifestation is being formed. And so I feel at home. Like right now, I feel at home, and I feel luxuriously wired to be empowering people to use this twilight to step into their light fully. So for me, what it looked like is a kid who dreamed of traveling with no physical capacity to do so, being born in a country that did not allow for you to leave the country, let alone give you an entry visa. And I started imagining, I loved your concept of postcards to the universe, of inviting the mental faculty of imagination. I was imagining myself in all of these unique places in the world without a practical way of doing so. So as a kid, I had this intuitive capacity to know not to be bogged down by how, right? That's the first red flag. Don't be bogged down by how. And so years later, when the Soviet Union fell apart, and when all of a sudden I stood on the Great Wall of China, remembering how an 11-year-old dreamed of being there, when I stood and looked at Taj Mahal in India, or all of these, I've been to 40 countries and counting at this point, I started going backwards and saying, wait a minute, how did that become possible? What were the neural pathways? what were the subconscious programs, and what were equally important practical steps that I took to go from there to where I am. And that is how You to Shine as a company was born a decade ago. And then the books and the apps that we have are all supportive of that process of, yes, anything is possible for everyone.
Yeah, no, I love that. And it's very clear in the book about how to do that. There is 35 universal laws in the book. And you specifically in the book referred to us making more money. But it's not just about making more money, because each of those 35 universal laws can be applied to anywhere in your life that you want to bring more prosperity. It could be your health, it could be your relationships, it could be career, it could be anything. So yeah, I really liked that each law can be applied in any area of our life that we want it to. So it just kind of it goes more than just what we're talking about money. Of course, we all want more money, right? But I'm curious because of the way that you describe it in your book, but you being what you call yourself a possibility coach, how you define manifesting. Because people who listen to me on the regular know how I define it, because I talk about it each week. But how do you define it?
Very simply, I refer to manifesting as your capacity to transform a possibility into a reality, period. And so, first, you want to be aware of all possibilities. You cannot manifest something you are unaware of. Things that are outside of your awareness cannot be brought into reality. And then you step on that path of possibility. You now know it's possible. Then you do any and all energy healing, transformational healing, and practical healing and shifts to know that it's possible for you. Because you see, I really know with every fiber of my being that every person listening knows that it's possible to be healthy, it's possible to be happy, it's possible to be loved, it's possible to be thriving because they see it in their life. But the question is it possible for me? And I think the book answers that question and empowers you to know, yes, it is.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. That, yeah, definitely. Yeah, a lot of us don't think it's possible. We look at others and we think, oh,
Mm-hmm.
well, it's nice they have it, right? But they've, maybe they came from a healthy family background, or they were born with money. So we make excuses a lot. And I wanted to ask, so you talk about this in the book in great detail, but you have a sequence in manifesting. Can you share a little bit about what that is?
I would love to give two aspects to that sequence because some of us are more left brain, some of us are more right brain. So we're going to
Right.
activate it
Right.
for all of us. And so on one spectrum of manifesting, there is a path of 4 A's. It's really good to think of them as 4 A's, and that's awareness, alignment, action, abundance. 4 A's. First, you've got to start noticing what you notice. You become aware. Because very often we jump to imagination. There's 6 mental faculties in our mind. Our mindset is the set of 6 mental faculties. When they're in harmony, we manifest a life of miracles. When they're in disharmony, we either manifest a life of strife or we manifest a life of routine with little brilliant moments, because they're like fighting against each other. And so the tradition, I'll name the 6 mental faculties. The 6 mental faculties are your perception, imagination, intuition, memory, reason, and will. I mean, we could talk for hours about each one of them. But with traditional manifesting, very often it starts with imagination. The tricky part is your imagination is tied to your image, self-image, and your self-image is tied to your awareness of your self-worth. And you cannot out-imagine your self-worth. That's where possible for me comes in. So the first step prior to imagining is leaning into your perception. You want to start perceiving life as a miraculous event, perceiving yourself as someone deserving to live a life of miracles. And once that part is healed, then and only then, you can truly expand your capacity to imagine a life of miracles. So that is where I say awareness is first step. Notice what you notice, because what and how you notice is what you already manifest in your life. You're single and you see a happy couple, notice how you react to them. Are you genuinely deeply thrilled for what they're having? Or are you regretful and sorrowful and you feel pity for yourself? Because how you notice and what you notice is what your perception is charging your imagination to create for you. Very simple, very practical. Notice what you notice. Once you notice the patterns, you want to align yourself. So awareness is step one. Once you notice those patterns, you want to align yourself with what it is you would rather have and how it is you would rather feel in life. Once you master the continual alignment, you want to ask, what is the one action step I can take as if I'm already living from the place of this alignment? Going back to the unhappy, happy couple, if you are noticing I'm not happy, I'm envious, that's all right. Congratulations. You were not deceiving yourself. You were not in denial. Then you get to say, what if it were possible for me to be in a happy relationship? How would I look at that couple then? What if it were possible for me? You want to feel the genuine joy for them, and then you open yourself to possibility of meeting somebody.
I love that. Thank you. Yeah, that's great. And it's interesting that you said that because right after, just using relationships as an example, right after the relationship crumbled, that's how originally I was feeling. I would notice happy couples and I would feel uh, like a sense of bitterness towards it, right? But then that shifted as time went on, and the more work I do, and now just looking from the people that I know, and I always look at the people who have these beautiful relationships, and I have a total different energy around it because I'm not in the same place that I was, right? So I look at it and I think, oh, I'm so happy for my friend who deserves to have this kind of relationship that they so desperately wanted, and it makes me feel good. So if you are aware of where you are in any area of your life, that is really important. I think do you think a lot of people are really unaware of where
I believe so. I
you
believe so.
do?
And I think the reason why is because, when you look at the 35 laws in Prosper Me, the last law is the law of forgiveness. And you
Yes.
cannot prosper until you learn to forgive. And a lot of us are very unforgiving of ourselves, first and foremost. We get good at forgiving others harm us. Most of us really do. But it's forgiving ourselves fully and completely without excuses, without strings attached, being able to say, I've really messed up without going down to but, my teacher, my father, my mother, my car, my life. Just stopping at, I've messed up and I know how to forgive myself. I'm going to forgive myself fully and completely. The more you forgive yourself, the more aware you become of what you can forgive yourself, the more aware you become, period. And then you can align with what you really want. Yeah.
Yeah. I know you do focus that chapter more on forgiving yourself than other people, but I do love the exercise, and it's a very short exercise that you give us to do if you are having an issue of forgiving someone who betrayed you or hurt you in a life, about having you write a letter from them to you. Right. And it's only a 3-minute exercise about what you wish they would say to you. And you teach us how to do it with the meditation. And I thought, oh, that is a really good idea because, some people will be waiting forever to get that, that I'm sorry from the people that have hurt them. And it may never happen.
Melissa, it's very important because we are a subconscious being. 95% of our life is controlled by our subconscious, and we consciously might want to be forgiving, and we consciously can even convince ourselves that I mean no wrong to this person, so I must have forgiven them. But there is a part of us, a silent saboteur part, that needs to hear what it needs to hear in order to move on. And if it doesn't, it'll pop into our awareness as pain points when we see something that reminds us of that lack over and over and over again.
Yes, that's so true. And I've realized just doing my own kind of work through the years that forgiveness doesn't necessarily happen all at once. It happens in stages, just a little at a time. I think people, forgiveness is such a big thing. We think like we're saying it's okay what happened and we're just going to forget about it and we're going to forgive everything and move on. And it doesn't happen that way, at least in my personal experience. What would you say to that?
I think there is no right or wrong or general way for any one of us to forgive. So each experience is individual and hence true. And I think reassuring to know that for some of us, we need to peel layers of onions, while for other of us, we can surrender. Or for some things, we can do one and the other. But I love, English is my fourth language. It's not even my second language, but it's my favorite. It's my
well,
favorite
it's very
language.
good. I have to say, for your fourth language, it's very good.
right. But I love the word forgiving, because when you look at the word forgiving, it really is for giving. It's for giving away what no longer serves us, for giving our burdens to the divine light, into the infinite light. And that forgiving gives room for us to bring abundance in. So it's a very literal word. As I am forgiving, I'm removing the energy of resentment, pain that was blocking me for receiving. I am literally creating space to receive a higher frequency into my life. Forgiving is a highly spiritual, which happens to be a very practical, grammatically principle. So I'm forgiving. I'm not absolving. Notice, I'm not absolving another person. They got to face the laws. It's not my job to be their creator, but I'm forgiving. I'm giving away so that I can give space to receive.
Yes, I love that. Forgiving. Ooh, that's really good stuff. So you talk in the book, and we all know this to be true, that a lot of us have very damaging subconscious programs running in our minds, right? We're not even aware of it. So what are some of these patterns and programs that we have going on in our heads, these subconscious saboteurs, as I like to say?
Obviously there are so many of them that I wanted, for the purpose of our time, to bring an insight that I know will help every person, because some others could apply to some and not others. But I had an amazing opportunity just literally 2 days ago. I was speaking to a rather large group from Hong Kong. There were 250 people. And I got to share this principle for the first time with such clarity and simplicity. I said, who's rich? Who's rich? And what I found through my life, either from the poorest places of Calcutta or speaking to my billionaire buddies, the answer is always somebody who has more money than I do. I mean, that just blows my mind away. So our first subconscious saboteur is not realizing that when somebody's asking who's rich, the answer is I am. I am rich. Once you step into that energy and you say, I have a roof over my head, that's better than 60% of population of this globe. I am rich. And with the law of gratitude, prospering, the first law is what you appreciate appreciates. What you're grateful for grows, period. So all of a sudden, when you start saying, I am rich, it dissolves all the bad patterns about who rich people are, because most of us simultaneously want to have more money, but we hate the rich, consciously or subconsciously. Why? Because we defined rich those that have more money than us, and thus we're dishonest about obtaining it. That's the global definition of rich, versus I am rich, I'm kind, I'm rich with kindness, I'm rich with generosity, I am rich with love, and hence I am rich with money. My tennis buddy today pulled me aside and said, "Oh, girl, you should have heard what Pitbull said." He said, "Yes, money does buy happiness when you give it away." So, yes, I am rich. I am so rich that I'm buying happiness because I give money away. I am rich. That would be the most powerful current shift that I could offer.
I love that. And you talk about that in the book, Gratitude. I always talk about gratitude. I say it's one of the most powerful ways to manifesting. It's being grateful for what you already have. So that resonates with me completely. And I love that you're just saying, I am rich, and I am rich in what I already have in my life. I am rich in love. I am rich in friendship. I am rich in, my home life. I am rich in my career. So it's wonderful. And that's a great place to pause. So guys, think about this, where you are rich, when we take our commercial break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes and we'll continue our conversation. Stay tuned.
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. ascendinghearts.com.
Hi, I'm Melisa Caprio from Postcards to the Universe, creating the life you crave. Do you believe in magic? What if I told you all you had to do was get a little creative and work a dream spell to bring anything you can imagine into your life? Well, guess what? I've got the spell for you. Postcards to the Universe, a global movement for manifestation, is a casting magical tool for you to use whenever you want. How does living in passion sound to you? Join me in my movement where you get to create in the magical playground. Let's think outside the box and do some playful conjuring. By casting out our desires with a manifesting postcard, we explore our hearts and allow the alchemy of our dreams to appear. And don't forget to tune in each week here on OMTimes Radio with my show, Postcards to the Universe, creating the life you crave at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I share tips on creativity, abundance, and prosperity, and you will be introduced to the coolest guests, trailblazers, mystics, and creatives who enrich our lives.
Imagine yourself being transported to India, to the banks of the Ganga and an ashram in Rishikesh. Visualize that you are welcome to satsang with an American sannyasi who shares the wisdom of her guru. Your visualization has manifested. Join Sattvi Bhagawati Saraswati for inspiration and transformation every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. The rainbow is God's promise of hope for you and me. And though the clouds hang heavy and the sun we cannot see, we know above the dark clouds that fill the stormy sky, hope's rainbow will come shining through when the clouds have drifted by. Teresa Caprio is the president and founder of Rainbow Guardian Inc., a nonprofit 501c3 serving the intellectually challenged / developmentally disabled, including autism. Teresa started the foundation in 1995 so she could help make a better life for her intellectually challenged daughter. Her dream is that the Rainbow Guardian will provide the necessary tools and education to help the public understand the special needs population, because it's often discarded in mainstream society. To find out more or make a donation in support, please go to www.rainbowguardian.org. Rainbow Guardian's special mission is to see these unique people live a happy, full life and have a future of liberty and equality.
everybody. Welcome back. If you're just joining me, I have author, and I love that she calls herself possibility coach, Victoria Rader, with me, and we're talking about prosperity. That's what we're really focusing on today. And I wanted to ask you, so the title of your book, Prosper Me, the 35 Universal Laws to Make Money Work for You. The way you write out me is small m and large E. So what is the purpose of that? What's that about?
Oh, first of all, thank you for a question. It's my favorite topic to talk about.
Okay. Awesome.
Earlier, Melissa, you observed so powerfully that prosperity is so much more than money, and it truly is, because what is prosperity of money without prosperity of relationship, love, or health, right? It just no amount of money can buy wholeness. And so the little m and big E as a code for who we are when we refer to ourselves by saying, I am me, I am me, to me is a reminder of our purpose here on this planet. And that purpose is knowing very clearly two parts of who we are and surrendering the lower frequency part to a higher frequency part. While it's true that we're all energy, we also know that energy that slows down enough to be measured becomes matter and is defined as matter. And so when I look at little m, I'm reminded there is a mortal matter that I am. There are particles of me, physical molecules, that will depart and literally return to the dust of the earth. They will be recycled by our amazing planet. So I am mortal matter. It's a little m. I am M that still is figuring out how to manifest materially. The little m stands for mortal matter manifesting materially, for the scared part of me. Because there's always going to be a part of me that says, how do I make sure this body doesn't die? There's always going to be the scared part of me, the little m that's going to come in and say, why am I worried about my daughter? Or why am I still thinking about possibility of the worst outcome? It's my survival, little m. And equally is true that there is a sacred part of me, which is that big E, which is eternal energy of who we are, that is the essence that expands. And so the task for this life, for me, is how do I surrender my mortal to my eternal, my matter to my energy, my material to my essential, and my manifesting to my expansiveness. How do I shift from scared me to sacred me over and over and over, a million times a day? And that process of awakening and enlightenment to me comes as surrender to love. I define love as life originating vibrant emotion, energy in motion. And I cannot shift into a higher frequency of who I am, which brings prosperity, by punishing, scolding, criticizing, or denying the scared part of me. I need to find her and I need to love her. I need to tell her it's okay. It's okay that you're being human. You are. You have matter to you, and you matter. English, once again, gets 100% endorsement from me because the word you matter is a highly coded word. If we deny who we are physically, striving to only be the spiritual energy, we forget that we matter through surrendering our matter to the energy that we are.
That was so beautiful, the way you just described that. I swear to God, I got chills as I was listening to you, because you can hear it in your voice about how much you believe what you're sharing with us, like how much you teach that and live that. You can hear it, and I could feel it just listening to you. So, because I really do think that for so many of us in the different stages of our life or at some point, we think that we don't matter. And that's why we have such a hard time having the life that, if we even allow ourselves to dream, we have. Because then there's those people who, breaks my heart, won't even imagine, won't even have a dream for their own life. because they don't think they're worth it at all, right? So going from that, why do you think that there's so many of us that grow up thinking we're not important, we're not worthy, we don't matter, we're not valued? Why is that such a universal story?
I think the most efficient way to answer that is by bringing the map of consciousness by David Hawkins and seeing how it plays out with two gender roles. And this is however you see that definition. It's within your freedom capacity to look into that. I just want to show how the gender roles and the female, feminine, masculine energies play out in a way of answering why we feel we don't matter. So David Hawkins has done a lot of studies as to where he would wire a person's brain and he would expose them to different experiences of emotion and then measure the frequency that emotion created in their body. And what he found is that at the very bottom of that scale of map of consciousness was shame. Shame is so low that our brain barely vibrates. So much so that in Japan, culturally, when you were ashamed of who you are, your one way out was an honorable death. A lot of us are under subconscious contract of an honorable death when we are ashamed of our life as opposed to honorable life. I believe the awakening here is I am here to live an honorable life. So you have shame. Right above shame, you have guilt. And then you have apathy. And then you have fear. And then you have pride. And so this is where the kicker comes in. Above fear, you have anger, and then you have pride. For most of the masculine energy, for most traditionally men, the second you got out to anger, we were taught, all of us, that pride is bad. And is it bad compared to high frequencies of peace, enlightenment, joy? Yeah, it's a very low frequency. But compared to those deadly energies, we have to get to pride. But what happens, with masculine energy in us will get angry, hit the pride limit in anger, and then will say, oh, I know better. Why would I get angry? And it brings us back to shame. So some of us cycle in a masculine cycle from shame to anger, while others of us, more of a feminine energy that is stuck into grief and self-pity, go to, I'm ashamed of who I am, I feel sorry for who I am. I'm ashamed of who I am, I feel sorry for who I am. And so the answer is, and it's a counter-logical answer, but you've got to step into pride long enough to break the cycle of guilt, shame, and anger. So if you're angry, instead of saying, what's wrong with you? You're a spiritual being. Don't be angry anymore. And going back to shame, you say, oh my gosh, I am so freaking good at being angry. Did you see this? This was like Vesuvius. I'm like Vesuvius of a person. And the miracle shifts because you cannot stay angry when you're in pride. And then you shift to courage and you say, how do I shift anger? Because it's a powerful energy into creation. And if you are truly in a cycle of self-deprecation and if you're in constant self-punishment of grief and unfairness and you're saying, feeling guilty, same concept, get yourself first to anger. Just say, I'm so angry, I'm stuck in this cycle of feeling guilty. Why isn't there any way for me to be unstuck? And the second you feel that genuine anger, truly pat yourself on the back and say, oh my gosh, I just got angry. I didn't think I could be angry. I thought I was passive. And this is gold, literal gold, because once you break into pride temporarily, then you get into courage and you say, how do I now learn to accept all of these emotions of mine so that I can channel them and create higher frequency emotion of peace and joy and love and so forth. But that's why we are discouraged to experience pride.
Oh, that's good. I never heard it put that way. That's good. But I know just from being in guilt or having shame around anything, when you go from that low frequency to anger, there is a sense of power behind anger that you do not feel when you're wrapped up in shame and guilt. So it
Hmm.
does, if you're in tune with yourself and your emotions, you definitely feel like you've raised the frequency. So, yeah, that's good. Yeah, I'm so good at being angry right now. I like that.
Yeah, I'm good at it. And then you're not angry anymore because you're like proud of you. And you're like, and
Yeah.
then you go to humor. I'm so weird to be thinking this way. Now that's acceptance. There you go.
There we go. Oh, that's great. Oh, I love it. So, I loved the way that you laid out your book because I know a lot of the laws, but there were some that I didn't ever hear before,
Hmm.
or the way that you put it, which is great. So she has 35 laws in her book, and she starts with gratitude and she ends with the law of forgiveness. But certain ones, like the law of relaxation,
Mm.
it was the law of funding fun. I thought, oh, we don't think about that. So you want to share? I know, obviously, we can't for the purposes of time and everything. All the you have to read the book if you want to know. You have to get the book. So, but is there a couple that you want to talk about from the book that maybe you think that we could all benefit from hearing right now?
I think the one that is coming in and is standing, because lots have been channeled,
Hmm.
and it was a beautiful experience for me. Originally, the laws were channeled for our app. We have an app that's
Hmm.
called Empower-Me, and the laws were channeled for that app as activation. So a person could shake their phone and it would tune into their energy and line them up with the best and highest frequency and immediate activation. And
Love
then
it.
so many people were saying, how do I want to know more about it, So
Hmm.
then in our online group, I've created a video program. And then from the video program, the book was born in its time. That's kind of the journey of that. And so when the laws came in, they came in crystal clear. They came in with activations. And they were some of them that took me by surprise, just as you're describing,
Hmm.
And it's interesting that you've pointed out to the law of relaxation because um, a lot of us have capacity to have mastered that law, but we're unaware of it. Think about for a moment how many times your best ideas come to you when you're in the shower.
Hmm. Yeah.
When your body is relaxed, your
Hmm.
frequency is set to receiving. When your body is tense, your body is set to produce. Now, if you're constantly producing, you have no room to be receiving. You think of the field has to have the seeds, and then those seeds have to grow, and then you have to harvest them. If you keep growing without harvesting, you have an overgrown field and a broke bank account,
Right.
and you can harvest when you relax. So the law of relaxation is a chronological law that the fastest way to receive an optimal answer to how to act prosperously is to just take a chill pill and relax. So when something's happening in your life right now that you are not sure how to resolve, the more you think about it, the less resolution you arrive at. So the easiest way to practice the law of relaxation is when you go to bed, tell yourself, this problem is resolved for me through a great infinite universe and my creator. I want to wake up with curiosity as to how. Thank you for having it done. I'm going to now relax and sleep and wake up with curiosity to find out a solution. And so
Mm.
you're completely releasing, you're relaxing into solution. That's tip one, number one. Tip number two that's coming in for some reason so strongly. And Melissa, I haven't taught this, so here you go. This is just the content that's coming in for us, is that
Mhm.
if we are allowing for ourselves to relax, to ask for a higher solution, what do I mean? If I'm short on money, I think I need
Mhm.
to resolve for how do I get money? And that's the lack mentality. But what if I said, okay, I'm going to get there. The high frequency is, what do I do with the money that I get? I'm just going to relax in my chair and I'm going to say, okay, I now have whatever the twice the amount that you've made up till now a year, pick up 150 grand. You're going to say, I now have 150 grand. So that's a new kind of a problem. What do I do with it? How do I spend it? How do I invest it? What do I do with it? You occupy your mind in relaxed state because you really can't freak out about it because you don't have it yet. But when you train your mind in a relaxed state to be solving a problem from a place already having it, you will be blown away how fast things will align for you to make it a reality.
Yes, that makes so much sense. And you talk about also building, like you use the thermometer as symbolism that you can't go from 5 degrees to 100 degrees. That you have to go 6, 7. So we're building on things. It's a building process when we're doing this kind of work. And you talk about the law of tithing and the law of saving and the law of investment, the law of spending, the law of growth. So it's really interesting, like you said, it was channeled, the way that it was channeled to you, because I could see from actually reading the book how one keeps building on top of the other. And what's so really cool is you can keep the book and keep going back. Right? So if there's something that you're working on, like maybe it is the saving, maybe it is the law of saving. Many people, as soon as money comes in, it goes right out. And they haven't figured out a way to, allow themselves to save for the purposes of having the money there when you need it. Because you're also very practical in saying you expect the greatest outcome and the best, but you also prepare for the worst at the same time. So you want to share a little bit about that, because that feels like two opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, and that's the little M and the big E. The little am wants to be ready for the worst, and ignoring it. You can stand in front of the mirror and hit yourself on the chest and say, I'm a money magnet. And that little tiny voice inside of you says, no, you're a lunatic. And, and that's that little am. And that little am is going to prevail. And you go like, I'm doing all the manifesting stuff, and for some reason it didn't work for me. It worked for me one time, and I can't get consistency on it. It's because the little am, you need to sit down and you get to say, okay, I'm going to go down the worst possible case scenario. I'm going to go there. What if I have no money? Can I survive on the street? Can I survive on the street? Yeah, I can. You have to face your greatest fear to prove to your little am, that mortal matter, that you're fine. And once it says, oh, okay, go dream, big E, go manifest. Yeah. It creates, so that's when you are prepared for the worst, you can truly use that as a platform to launch into the very best, into infinitely best.
Yeah. Oh no, I love that so much. That's so wonderful. Is that yours? Is that your background? Nope. I'm hearing somebody talk in the background. Is that from you, or is
that's the studio? That's your guy in the studio.
Oh, that's the studio. Oh, okay. Chris, we can hear you talking. So
your little man is talking.
Oh, nobody else can hear him talking. It's just us. It's the law of manifesting background noise.
That's the M. I would like to point out, this is how M sounds when E is trying to manifest.
That's great. I love that. And then when you're talking about the laws too, I love like the law of grace and the law of consecration, and that's like the law of true source, whatever your true source is for you. I know you talk about God, and your connection with God in the book, but to whomever is listening, whoever is reading, everybody has their different source of who they connect with. And you talk about that in the spiritual sense, which is wonderful, are talking about how to connect to our spirituality for manifesting. So can you just like touch on that briefly?
Yes, I think what it comes down to is that the true source is the source of all love and all abundance, however you choose to define it, right? The word God has become such a trigger, a very high frequency word that has been misused and abused to where it became a trigger, but it's an acronym for grand overall designer. So however you define grand overall designer, the true source, which sources you. And so when we look at the word resource, think of the word resource. It is using the source to create something. You are resourced by the source. If you're disconnected from your source, it is very hard, not impossible, very hard to feel resourced and to create. And this is where it comes in that we are taught that there are three great resources: time, energy, and money. And I come in and say there is one resource, and it's energy. And how we learn to work with energy will define our relationship with time and money. If we prioritize our energy in a true guided way, we're connected to the source and we feel resourced by it, and we step into our talent and become a resource to others, and we focus on becoming the guided resource for this planet, our time shifts and our money grows. But if we lose the focus of that, if we disconnect it from the source and we say, oh my gosh, I'm running out of time or I'm running out of money, all it is we're disconnected from the source of all abundance. So going back to and saying, how do I connect to my one true source that it may resource me into plenty of time and plenty of abundance? And asking that question over and over and over again. Our life is defined, it either expands or is limited by the quality of the questions that we ask.
That's perfect. I love that. It's a constant practice. This is something that you have to constantly be practicing. It's a new exercise, really. It's like working out your body. You have to do it every day to see results, right?
Yep.
So it's kind of the same thing. You have a few which I thought are really cool free resources for people who are really interested in this. So you want to share a couple of the things that you do? I know you have a quiz, you have a meditation, and you have a free masterclass on manifesting or something. So I'll let you share what it is that you're offering.
Yeah, we have it all.
You have it all.
I think the best place in the nature of our conversation is that if you go to moneyquiz.me, because with 35 laws, they are, as Melissa said, they're building up one upon the other, and it's great to read the book all the way through. And once you do, you lay the foundation to really prosper. And then you go take the quiz, which you can find it, or you can do it before, moneyquiz.me. Once you take the quiz, it tells you individually, what your main driving emotion in life is. What is the good energy in motion? Because your greatest strength will also be your limitation if it's misused. And the quiz says, here are your 3 laws to start with. This is your energy, and if it is abundantly used, you're prospering. But if you're not quite prospering, it's because it is not fully supported by these 3 laws, and it's a powerful way to start and go there. Once you master that, you can go to manifestmiracles.me. I believe it is for higher frequency spiritual seekers who want to get the meat with the milk. They want to have all the how-tos, and it's a 2-hour, absolutely free seminar on those 6 faculties that I very briefly mentioned, with energy shifts and power activations that you can receive. And if you were touched by the whole thing of scared versus sacred, if you go to choosesacred.me, you will have a free meditation that will empower you to love your scared into the sacred. It's a 6-minute meditation, and you can listen to it whenever your scared is having a party.
No, that's wonderful. And then you also have an app that people can download, your Empower Me app. So people can check that
Empower
out
Dash
too.
Me? Empower Dash
Yeah,
Me?
empowered.
Lamb
Dash.
Diggy?
Don't forget the dash. Don't forget the dash. Oh, it was such a pleasure. Thank you, Victoria. It really was. I got so much out of our conversation and your book, and I'm so thankful and grateful to you for being here with me. Guys, please check her out. Okay, everyone. Thank you for listening to Postcards to the Universe with Melisa, creating the life you crave. And I'm wishing everyone a wonderful week filled with joy, abundance, and love. Peace.